And now
We're live. There we are.
So I had to interrupt a wonderful conversation that Lisa and I were having because I realized it would be perfect for the online audience. So I'm going to introduce Lisa really quickly and get this started because I want to dive in further on what we were talking about. I am really excited to have Lisa-May Huby with me here today. She works with overwhelmed, overworked, and this is going to resonate with a lot of us, overwhelmed, overworked women coaches. And what she's trying to do is what all of us are trying to do, which is help you create the income, impact, and lifestyle. I love those three. I read it because I love all three of those: impact, income, and lifestyle that we're all actually after in this business. The thing that's different about Lisa that I really want to share is she's got 14 years experience at this. And I went and did a lot of research, of course, because I'm a geek and that's what I do, and has worked with some really influential folks in our entrepreneurial industry. So I begged her to come on this Facebook Live, and she graciously agreed so that we could kind of have a conversation around some of the nuggets she's shared with me about business. So Lisa, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm happy to be here and can't wait to continue our discussion because there's there's a lot of stuff that, I love to share, and there's been a lot of changes over 14 years, that I came online and with an online business as a copywriter before Instagram even existed. Facebook was brand new. Twitter was brand new.
Was it all email at that time, pretty much?
It was. Yeah, it was. Okay. So, but no matter how much things have changed, the fundamentals always stay the same. So.
Cool. We'll dive into that because one of the things I think we can I need reinforcing on is what are those fundamentals. But the one thing we were talking about was how having a 14-year view on things gives you a perspective that a lot of us that are still relatively new in the entrepreneurial space, I've been at it 5 years. There's some folks here who've been at it 1 or even less, of two things. One is avoiding all the scammy, scummy people that are out there trying to sell us shiny new objects. And then the second is how quickly things change. Yeah. Like you might actually buy the right shiny object, but 6 months from now, that's not the thing anymore.
Exactly. And it can be really hard to keep pace with things. And that's why it's so important to really come back to those fundamentals. Marketing, the basics of marketing will never change.
They were like that when we had billboards, or still.
Yeah. And
what are a couple of those fundamentals? Like, what is an example of a fundamental that was the same in when all we had was billboards, TV, and then the internet, email, and now social media, or Google and social media? What are some of the basics that everybody just needs to settle down and make sure those are covered, no matter, even if you're chiseling something in stone?
I love that. Settle down. Just chill. Get a grip. Well, the biggest one is know how to communicate with your customer.
Love it.
Right? It does, because that spans all channels. If you can't figure out how to clearly articulate what it is you do and who you do it for, and know how to reach them, and so you can create that connection with them, then you'll continue to have some problems.
So we start with number one. The thing everybody tells you is know your audience, know the problem you're solving. And I would say even more so what you've said is know the problem they're solving in their language.
Absolutely.
And then know where to find them.
Yep.
And I think the interesting thing is, so that's 1 and 2. I love it. Know where to find them. My God, that's really it. Are there more fundamentals than that? Know what to say and know where to find your people.
That's a big one. And, when it comes to actually marketing your services and selling, because they're so closely related, you've got to know when it's time to stop nurturing your audience or communicating with them and saying, hi, I'm here. But there comes a time when you got to pull them. Okay. Yep. And say, this is how I can help you, and not be afraid to do that.
So knowing when to convert from just awareness to actually providing them something to help them.
Yeah. because you
Okay,
can
I like
can
that.
create all the content you want, but if you never actually come right up and say, hey, I can help you, and this is what I have, and here's how you get it, then
That's so funny. That is my biggest weakness, right? So I will talk to the cows come home about finance and accounting, and oh my God, I'm so sorry you have that problem, and here's something you can do, and totally forget to mention, oh, by the way, I can do that for you.
yeah,
And that's just such an important piece that I think so many women in particular. Do you find this a lot with your clientele?
yeah. And that's why I have decided to focus on women coaches specifically,
Okay.
because let's face it, we all have a few hangups. But I find
Do
with
that.
a big portion, and I mean, in all the years that I did worked one-on-one with clients, and continuing forward in the new capacity that I help people, they
Hmm.
always have a problem with messaging
Wow.
and feeling weird about coming right out and saying, here's what I've got, I can help you, here's how to get it, just asking for the sale. So many come from a standpoint of service, and I get that.
Yep.
I love to help people and love to help people, but at the same time, just because you're coming at it from a point of service or a place of service does not mean you can't have a successful and crazy profitable business.
Mhm. That's interesting. I call it the and. It's not a but, it's an and. Yes, you can provide service, and I have a whole module on pricing because we tend to, as women coaches, go through a thought process that goes something like this. Oh, well, I'm going to be doing this program. I'm going to spend this many hours on you in one-on-one coaching. My billing rate should be this.
Yeah.
And I like do everything I can to smash that concept and say it has nothing to do with the billing rate or how many hours you're spending. It has everything to do with the fact that without you, this person would take days, months, years to do and get to an outcome. Number one, they'd miss the outcome. Number two, they'd spend all that time and they'd spend a lot of money. So if you add up all their time and all their money, and you add up, it may not cost you much to do it, but if you can do it, your price should lie somewhere on the upper end between all the money they're not going to waste
Yeah.
and the fact that you're going to actually get them to an outcome. And they're going to waste that money. I know, I went through it. I bought every shiny object. I've tried to build a funnel. I can't build a funnel to save my life. And I need to just let it go and pay somebody to build my funnel. And it's not worth $100 an hour. It's worth some portion of the $50,000 I'll save trying to do it myself in 5 years.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
There's that.
how do you break through that with people when you coach them?
And it's funny because this is actually something that I'm going to be talking about next week in the business breakthrough boot camp that I'm running.
We're going to have to get the info on that and drop it in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be talking a lot about that next week, because you are in the problem-solving business, right? People are going to pay you to solve that problem. And so, like you've already succinctly said, hey, you're saving them a ton of time and money. And if you communicate with the people who are ready for that, the ones that are already just done with the struggle and willing to commit to doing whatever it takes to put an end to it, then you will never, ever have a problem finding clients.
I love that. And that's such an important thing. What is the business boot camp? Does it run 5 days? Does it run?
Yeah, we start Monday.
Perfect timing. That's right.
It's 5 days. I just actually announced a bonus training. It's a surprise bonus training on Friday, just for the boot camp members. So
nice.
Let me see if I can find the link here.
So that'll be this Friday or next Friday, the bonus?
Sorry, next Friday.
Okay, cool. So it starts Monday, which is going to be the 15th?
The 15th. Okay.
So 15th through. We're definitely going to drop all that info in the comments. People, don't panic that you have to write it down, because I'm going to probably attend, because there's so many different ways we can talk about these things, but having somebody's concentrated attention with this level of experience going through the things that all of us deal with. And I don't care, and I've told you all this in this Facebook Live before, I don't care as you look around this group or you look around any room, and you see the people who are just starting out in their business, or the people who are what you would call hugely successful. The ones who are hugely successful are there because they've made all the mistakes we're about to make.
Mm-hmm.
And what Lisa's got is the ability to share that. And I mean, check out her website, because she's done work for some big names who've put massively wonderful testimonials. I know you didn't want me to brag on you, but I can't help it. But in my conversation with you as well, I can just feel the ease and the comfort with how you approach people when they're dealing with these questions. And if you were to, like, today, and this, I know people always say this, but I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase the question so it's not trite. Like, everything you know now, if you had to go back and start again, how quickly, if you eliminated all the things that you teach your clients to eliminate, how quickly would you have gotten to what you would have called business success? Does that make sense, that question?
Yes, a whole lot faster.
Yeah.
It would have shaved years off
From trial and error.
on the struggle bus, It was.
I love that.
And not just on the business side, but there was so much mental stuff, and personal hang-ups and baggage and all the ways that you can possibly get in the way of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I did it. I think I did them all.
That's when we know the best, don't we? It's the stuff we've done ourselves.
Yep.
So you have mechanisms to help people get out of that faster than trying to figure it out on their own.
Absolutely.
Okay. Very, very cool. So the boot camp is next week. Is it all day, every day? Just an hour a day? How long?
It's about an hour every day.
Okay.
I'll be live inside my Unleashed and Unstoppable Facebook group.
Perfect.
I think it's 1 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome. Okay, great. We will get all of that in there. Tim Larson's shown up to say great content. Thank you, Tim. We try our best, but it's so important. The thing is that when I was doing this business, like, I look back at decisions I made 4 and 5 years ago, decisions I'm making today. And what's different is a clarity around what it takes for me in every decision, as opposed to just, oh, there's the thing that'll work. I mean, I remember taking a course, a single course. I won't name names, but it was a single digital course that was very popular, and thought, oh, well, at the end of this, I'll be making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now, especially with so many people starting businesses with COVID, I think that's true. And it's not, I mean, I think there are a lot of people preying on that.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to give the impression that it's all misery and struggle, because I have never loved my business life more than I've loved the last 5 years. And the thing that's so cool about it is you are constantly learning. You're constantly in a new area you've never been before, like being dropped from a helicopter into the ocean with no raft.
Yep. Yes.
And if you can find a coach who brings the raft that you should use, instead of trying to grab at any old sinking canoe that's going by, that makes such a big difference. So I got to ask, how do you work with people? Do you do it one-on-one? Do you do it in a group? Talk to me about what your process is to help people know they've got the raft.
Yeah, I love that analogy. That's perfect. I work with the majority of people. I have a core signature offer, and it's a group program.
God,
so
great.
I realized, over the last year, 18 months, whatever, that if I wanted to actually increase the impact that I was having and maximize that without actually burning out in the process, that I was going to have to shift from a one-to-one business model to a one-to-many. So I still have private clients and offers in there, but the majority of my work is done inside my group program.
I love it. And what's the journey like that you take them through? Like, so somebody who comes to you is what, and when they leave your program, what's changed? What's different?
Everything has changed. So, when they come to me early on, like you said at the beginning, they're overwhelmed because there's this massive to-do list, and they're trying to do all the things, and they're grabbing at all the shiny objects. They're trying to do their sales funnel and ads and whatever the latest tactic is, grow their Facebook group and whatever. Okay. But they're also, as a result of that, rather, they're overworked. So their husband never sees them. Their kids never see them. Their significant other never sees them. I have a basement office, and it's a beautiful basement office, but I don't see a whole lot of daylight. So my husband, when I was in the midst of all of this, started to refer to me as a troglodyte because I was spending so much time in the basement.
In the office. Yep. Oh, that's funny.
But, and the people I work with in this program are so bogged down with all this other stuff. They can't see the way out.
I love that.
And as a result, of course, their pay struggles. They're underpaid because they're trying to do all this other crap, which doesn't,
and not having the impact either.
Right.
Got it. So at the other end, there's like an organized sort of plan of attack, and they understand the priorities and all of, is that kind of the outcome?
Absolutely. Okay. I start them off running with a clear action plan of what they need to do first.
Love
and then give them the steps to actually go out. We simplify their business. We strip everything back and only focus on what's going to propel them forward.
Love it. So there's a lot of stuff in here. There's mindset, there's productivity, there's prioritization, there's like Stephen Covey mixed with Abraham Hicks and God and time management. I mean, it's
absolutely. Yeah, I call myself an accidental spiritualist because I've always been an eye roller. Over the years, I've worked with a lot of coaches in the woo space, spirituality and stuff. But in my own journey, interestingly enough, I've come to see that, hey, there is actually something to all of this.
It's something at work.
And you know what? Whatever works for you, however you can get yourself in the game to play this high performance sport of entrepreneurship, the way that you do you.
I love that. There's no one way.
No.
And I know certainly my journey is this weird hybrid of what would be called traditional faith and new age spirituality. And I've decided that they're the same thing, just through different lenses. Like one time I look at it in my pajamas, and the other way I look at it, I'm in my dressing gown, if I have such a there, my going out dress. But it's the same thing. And I do know that in the last couple years, since I've found myself much more attached to it, capital I, everything changes. Everything changes. And it makes it even more fun. So that if that's something you can help people connect to, is that I call it the inner moving sidewalk. So that every step you take, you get twice the traction or 3 times the traction. That in and of itself is just a huge chunk of the battle.
Absolutely.
So many times we're slaying dragons,
Yeah. If you don't love your business, if there isn't some way that you can infuse your energy into your business, and if you're not having fun, then what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Because it is all day, every day. And you can choose to make it contain to a certain number of hours, but it's still going to be a bulk of those hours. I never did get the 4-hour work week thing.
No.
I wish maybe someday after I've got a bunch of investment properties or something, but when I'm actually running a business, I don't get how a 4-hour work week works. But I still leave myself open to the fact that I might have just missed that chapter. So, well, tell me a little bit about how you got here to where you are and what you're doing now, because you have had a fascinating 14 years, but even before that, like what drove you into this world of helping people like me?
You know what? It's funny. I was having a conversation just before I hopped on here with you, and the girl I was speaking with, the woman I was speaking with, asked me the same thing. She said, well, what did you do before you became an online entrepreneur? I was in corporate marketing for a long time.
Okay.
And my background, I'm actually, my marketing is in automotive marketing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's what my degree is in, rather. That was the word I was looking for. And so, it was, of course, a big boys' world back in the day.
Yeah.
And so I grew up, I cut my teeth in some pretty aggressive circumstances, being, a fairly young woman in a man's world.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change it for the world, because I learned that, hey, guess what? I always felt like the round peg, or the round peg, the square peg in the round hole. I never quite found a position in a corporate, didn't matter what company I was with. I never felt quite right. There was something that just didn't fit.
Huh.
And so,
you were aware of that even then. That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? There's just, maybe too many rules. I don't know. I've never considered myself a big rule breaker, but apparently I was.
Apparently you are.
I managed to get hauled into the HR office often enough that
you were my kind of corporate person. Yeah. I would have hung out with you in corporate. I love it.
So, but yeah, so that's kind of what led me to finally, on the last time I was restructured, I'm not even going to tell you how many times I've been right-sized and downsized and restructured.
Yeah, see, folks, that's another thing for nobody to be embarrassed about. Anybody that was in corporate from 1980 to 2015, 2020 has been through this once, or else you haven't really played the game.
That's right. Yeah.
So, but anyway, go ahead. So last restructuring.
In 2007, I'm like, okay, that's it. I've had enough. There's no loyalty here. Whether it was marketing budgets being pulled, or because the Canadian office, being a Canadian, you don't realize that we have a significantly smaller population here than the US. So if I'm managing the national marketing, well, the budget's roughly 10% of what the US was. And if you didn't use it, well, then it got cut.
Yep. That's the other nice thing about corporate CFOs. Hi.
Yeah.
You didn't use it. We're like, you must not need it. You can't have it next year. Oh, jeez. So when you started this entrepreneurial, did you know that's what you were going to do, was be an entrepreneur who did marketing? Were you aiming at smaller companies? Were you aiming at larger companies? What was coming out of the gate?
Coming out of the gate, I was kind of grasping at straws. My natural progression was into marketing communications, because I was always a bit of a grammar nerd.
Got it.
And, I was always the spelling champ and all that crap in school. So that was just, to me, the communication piece was natural.
Got it.
And so I focused on copywriting. And as I progressed into copywriting, there were certain segments that I enjoyed and certain ones that I didn't. I hated writing sales pages for years. I wouldn't touch a sales page because they all seemed so slimy, but I learned from the old school direct marketers.
Got it.
And so
you had to put your touch on it.
Yeah. So those do sound very scammy and slimy. They're still the old boys club.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned how to write a sales page that didn't sound like that.
Folks, note that, okay? Because that's another reason to go to this boot camp, is that's something that's so important and so hard. Because like you said, we get advice and we implement it. And it's often not us. And we don't know as entrepreneurs, how much of that expert's information do I have to keep? And how much can I put my own twist on it? And you were dealing with that in spades, because you were new on the internet. Heck, the internet marketing was new at that time. We're in the ways we're doing it today. How do you know how much of what works, the direct marketing from the old boys club and automobile industry? How do you know how much twist you can put? Did you just do experimentation on that?
Experimentation, and it was just a matter of infusing my own personality more, or my client's personality. Got it. Into the copy itself, because once again, the fundamentals are there.
Yep.
So when it comes to persuasive copywriting, the statistics don't lie. There are certain things that work when it comes to human buying behavior, which is highly illogical.
Yeah. Oh, is it really?
It is. We buy based on emotion, and then we justify it with logic every time.
That makes a ton of sense. That explains all the software I have.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes a ton of sense. Oh, that's so true.
Yeah. And that's why we fall victim so much to the shiny object syndrome too, right?
That might actually be scammy. Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, how many $27 offers are actually going to transform your business, really?
What you said. And I would be ashamed, and someday I'm going to have to do this exercise because I think it would be interesting to go back through 5 years of my data, because of course I'm a CFO, so I keep it, and see just how many of those things I've purchased.
Oh, yeah.
Believing truly that, oh, this one actually sounds different. This one actually sounds like it could work. And they don't. However, what I have found is that meeting cool people, which I'm so appreciative you joined the group. We had our conversation. This is my new way to like meet cool people, because I can't get on stages and talk anymore. And I don't, so I see my clients but I don't see anybody else, and I can't network and grow and learn and get to know people. But relationship is key now, and who you are is key now. And I loved it that you said you put your personality in the marketing, because that's got to be it. Like me, it's my dogs and my stupid mom sense of humor that makes my kid roll her eyes. Everybody's got their thing, and you've just got to put that in your marketing and allow that. Oh yeah, I am still, by the way, a corporate CFO that will knock the crap out of your finances for you. And it's so hard to balance those things, because people are telling us either, nope, you've got to be professional and stiff and sit up straight, or you've got to be you, and it's somewhere in between, and you've got to feel that comfort zone now.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of fluffy stuff out there saying, oh, I get paid just for being me on camera. And if you're one of those, that's great.
God bless you.
God bless you, because the rest of us haven't figured that out yet. I'm pretty sure.
So true. The rest of us try and crack the code.
So, but I mean, yes, okay, what worked? There's tactics and strategies that have worked for different people. Maybe it worked for them once, and now they're teaching it to, a gazillion other followers, and now they're all trying it, but so few get the results from it.
Right. Because number one, it could be out of date by the time you take it or learn it.
Yeah.
And that's why you want to make sure and this is the advice number 2 that I'm dropping, is before you work with any coach, know how long they've been in the game. Mm-hmm. Because if they've just jumped on the scene in the last, for this kind of stuff, even 2 to 3 years, if they're coaching you on something they've learned how to do, they'll do a great job of coaching you on that thing. But the thing you get from experience is what is the right thing you should be doing for your business and based on the time that we're in. Yeah. And that's where I think when I talked with you, it really resonated with me, is there are really 2 things you have to get to intersect right. Where are you in your business, and does that still work today as we move further and further towards the end of 2021 now?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? There's the way I coach my clients in this core group program is something that will continue to work. It's not something based on Instagram or Facebook groups that can change like that.
Platform can change in a minute.
How many times have we seen the Facebook algorithm change just in the last 6 months?
Exactly.
Right. So the thing is, you don't own any of that. Mm-hmm. So that is completely beyond your control. But there are things that you can control, like your email list, building your email list. Okay, that is going to be the number 1 asset, and you actually own that.
Still, that's come full circle now, hasn't it? Because it started with email lists, then we went through all this stuff, and then we realized we can't rely on the platforms. Now we're back to email lists.
Yeah, we're back to email lists again. But for a while there, people were saying email is dead.
I remember.
But it never has died.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way people were actually trying to leverage them and use them and build them.
Yeah.
Their business was not working.
Yeah, we got burnt out on what people were doing. It was the same thing under 6 different email addresses.
Yeah. And one of the things that, I love to talk about now is that freebies are dead. Quit wasting your time on those things.
Okay, now that's a massive tip. Tell me about that.
Right. So we are at 2020 saw the largest migration in human history, because all of a sudden there were tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that had to come online.
Yeah, for the first time.
Had to figure it out. People decided to start online businesses. Millions of them were started last year alone.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, there are more people online now than ever in history, obviously, right? I mean, the internet is still fairly new, and in relation to
speaking, yeah.
But there are more people online now, which means it's a double-edged sword. There's more opportunities and more possibility than ever. This has never been a better time to be a coach because people need us.
Yep.
They need you. They need you as their guide.
Yep.
But the other side of that is that there's more noise online than ever.
And the noise is the freebies?
Then freebies are just a piece of that because anybody can find what they want to know with a few taps on their keyboard.
Huh. You're right. Wow, I never thought that is like just a smack in the face for me, but a good one. It's like, so what is, like, if we're not doing freebies, if we're not having that squeeze page that's dropping a freebie, what are we doing to stand out from the noise? What is the right answer?
Messaging. If you want to talk strategy,
Mm-hmm.
the only freebie that I run now in my business is the boot camp, which is like a
Love it.
challenge style thing. And that's
Yep.
exactly what I advise my clients to do. Freebies are not for beginning business builders or for growing your business.
Love it.
Sorry, not for building your business. They are for growing your business, but only after you are generating revenue.
You're established a little bit.
Yeah.
I love that, folks. I'm going to type that in the comments. Establish first, then the freebies.
Yeah. So many of us, we waste a ton of time tweaking that freebie because the checklist or cheat sheet or whatever, nobody's downloading it. So we go back and we reinvent that, or we're working on a sales funnel or whatever. And
that's amazing. And it ties into something else I heard where somebody said, always charge something to do the thing, to get the thing, because there are a ton of freebies out there. But the thing is, some of those $27, $37 things are no better than the freebies. So it's really, don't even play in that park, because people don't need that. They need a membership. They need a group. They need something that you can actually get hands-on with them. And really the market's so flooded with freebies, it's hard to stand out. And I was just working on a squeeze page before we talked. So, I mean, it's true.
Yeah, it's flooded with freebies. It's flooded with information. But people aren't looking for information. They want transformation.
Huh.
Now, the nice thing about transformation that a lot of coaches don't think about, and I have a feeling that some of the big-hearted or the heart-centered women coaches in the group here might not realize, is that transformation is a two-way street.
Talk to me.
You get to transform someone's life, but at the same time, you're transforming your own, because you are actually getting paid to help them solve their problem. Right? Remember, we're problem solvers. That's our business.
I love that. Yep. That's a great point. And that is transformative. I know, like, when I see a client come through and change their whole perspective, and all of a sudden they realize they can make decisions based on their financials, and it's like a light bulb goes off. Yeah. That's as transformative for me as it is for them. Is, I think, that what you're getting at on that?
Yes and no. It's more about we transform someone's life, but they're paying us to help with that, right? So in turn, that's transforming our life.
Got it. The energy exchange, basically.
Right. Now we're able to support our families. We're able to hire help, which in turn supports our communities. And, it just becomes a bigger thing, because now we're in the ripple effect.
This is where we were talking about pricing. And people, it circles back to pricing. You're worth so much more than X per hour.
Exactly.
Not just because you want to price high, but because you can cycle all that money back into providing even more value. Yeah. And that's just such great advice. All right. One action, anybody listening to this, either live or on the replay, and thank you all. I know I've gotten a lot of, I've popped into the comments as well, some of the highlights I've gotten out of this conversation. But what's one thing any of us could do over the next week or so that would really help if we're in that just starting or a year in phase to really, besides come to the boot camp, which we will definitely put in the comments, what's something else we can do to help ourselves?
Learn how to communicate with your client. Learn how to make that connection. Think about where they are right now and why haven't they been able to be successful in that thing that they are trying to do.
And that goes back to the fundamentals that we started off with. So
because
that's full circle.
Among anything else, over any freebie that you ever put out, that's the thing that's going to help you stand out and create your own blue ocean, rather than getting bogged down in that 99% where all the masses are duking it out in that red ocean.
Yeah. Well, we can all always learn. I'm going to be there at the boot camp. I know that my friend Trish, who popped on at the beginning, she's going to be there at that boot camp. And I hope any of you who've listened to this are as well. Lisa is really good at outlining some things. I imagine it's going to be a transformative 5 days. And I just in an hour, you've given us so much of it. I really, really appreciate it. We'll see you again if I have my way on these Facebook Lives. And in the meantime, everybody have a fantastic Thursday. We're coming in on the weekend, so I won't see you again till next Tuesday. But we will have some fun again next week. And Lisa, thank you again so much.
Thanks so much for having me, Pam. And
bye, everyone. Oh, you bet.